Listen to this. Do you hear that?
No.
Oh, it's a beer.
Oh, I'm drinking
the top.
I'm drinking a Spindrift.
Oh, that's so lame. I hate this. I
I
don't like the juice.
Yeah, but I didn't want alcohol, so I
Did
drank.
you get that from Sweet Green?
I got it from my fridge.
Oh, you buy those?
No, my roommate did
Oh, I forgot you still have a roommate.
for 3 weeks.
Wow. You're gonna be a single man.
I know. I'm single, but I'm pretty wifed up these days, man.
Yeah, I guess you're extremely not single at this point.
I'm sending like cute gifts, before bed, that kind of shit.
That's bad. No, that's the exciting part though. Eventually you just stop.
Oh no.
You're just like, I fell asleep. And you're not even lying. You're not cheating.
You're just snoozing.
Okay, with that out of the way,
Let's do it.
we are done with Malice.
We are done with Malice.
How does it feel? We're 25% of the way done with the series.
I'm a little sad. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm sad that it's over. But I'm glad that it happened.
We're leaving boyhood behind.
We're graduating into college. All of the extracurriculars of Corban have come to fruition.
We should meet up and do a long night.
I will stand trial with you by sleeping in the middle of the woods.
I will go on a totally normal camping trip with you to become
this
a man.
This is a bone I have to pick, is that Corban just falls asleep in every heightened situation.
He really does.
He passed out at the eclipse.
It's because he
fell
has 10
asleep after
internships
Storm
and he's
killed
fucking
someone.
exhausted.
Yeah, the guy needs some sleep. He's blacksmithing in the morning. He's saving the world at night. It's crazy.
Would you rather have Storm as a pet or Mr. Carrots, my cat, as a pet?
I would love a talking Mr. Carrots, like the combination of Storm and the Crow.
I wonder what he'd have to say.
Nothing good.
He's probably would tell us like about all the things that traumatized him from his life as a street cat.
I think he'd just be really cuttingly sarcastic.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
I think of him as very sweet and sincere.
I do too. I really love Mr. Carrots.
Loves
Mr. Carrots is really sweet.
Yeah. If we get a Twitter going or something, I'll show the fans, Mr. Carrots.
Yeah, you can actually check them out on our OnlyFans that we're launching this month.
Oh yeah, it's pictures of Mr. Carrots' feet.
And it's us reading the summaries of the plots in a more sensual voice.
Yeah, that's nice. So anyways, we finished Malice. Should we get into this chapter summary and then get rocking?
I think so. I mean, I enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun. I'm excited to talk about it. I've got a lot of questions. I have a lot of little scenes that I want to pick through.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty satisfied with the ending. I don't know.
As do I. I mean, it definitely things really cranked up from the initial attack on Cywin and the Queen in the forest sort of through to the end.
Yeah.
Was super exciting. And a lot of stage setting for the next book. Which I'm excited to cover. Okay, let's do it.
Break it down. Also, I like your plot summaries. They're very comforting, and they have just the nicest little air of humor in them.
Yeah, I try to add the jokes, but sometimes I feel like I'm forcing it. Because sort of at each paragraph, I'm like, I haven't done a joke yet. Gotta write one. Also, since we remarked that the word drag sounds like a Midwestern accent, I cannot fucking read it or say it.
It drag. Did you take out the trash? Buddy?
Yeah. Go Packers. Okay, here we go. I think we're covering chapters 49 through the end of Malice, book 1 of The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. So, after virtually no investigation into the crime, Verdus and Nathair run off to bring justice to Mandros, who definitely killed the king.
Definitely.
Verdus and co. are able to take down Mandros' army with a little help from Gundul, Mandros' son, who also did virtually no investigation into the crime. Verdus captures Mandros and agrees to take him back to Geraldine for trial. That is, until Mandros says something mean about Nathair, then Verdus chops off his head. As a reward for killing the man he framed for murder, Nathair is given a drake's egg. Maycall, aka Big Mike, shows up in Dun Carreg to check in on the fledgling Bright Star, who coincidentally is Corban, protagonist of our story. Big Mike says dark days are coming, and then he sets off for the mythical city of Drasil. Back in Dun Carreg, Chekhov's Wolven finally goes off, and Storm attacks Rafe. Unfortunately, Rafe does not die, and Corban is forced to tell Storm to go on, get.
No. The dog.
The old yeller happens.
Tearjerker episode.
Castell decides to transfer to another school, i.e. the Giant Fighting Army, to avoid his cousin, and it seems like a huge downgrade. He gets chased halfway across the world by giants once again, but eventually discovers that one of the giant clans is hoarding iron to prepare for the God War. Team Corban eventually travels to Uthendune, where Cywin, the queen, and a handful of others are ambushed by Braith, Camlin, and the rest of the forest crew, who apparently work for Queen Rin. Sadly, Queen Alona, Ronan, and our favorite badass grandpa Tull are killed by Morcant, who wisely stays out of pocket sand range while Tull is injured. Morcant also moves to kill a defiant Cywin, but not before Camlin steps in to defend Milady's honor. While the forest raid is happening, Evnis uses a face-swapping magic trick to kill Uthin, son of Owen, then frame Marok for the killing. The survivors eventually head back to Dun Carreg after a bit of help from Storm, Brina, and Brina's crow. Corban decides to bring Storm home, despite the Rafe incident, and he tells everyone in town to suck it. Corban throws some spears, does a running mount of his Ben Elm horse, and eventually becomes a real man by sitting the long night. This means that Rafe is finally able to formally challenge Corban to a fight instead of secretly bullying him, and Corban hands him an incredibly satisfying ass-kicking that unfortunately comes right before Owen's final assault on Dun Carreg. Evnis uses the secret tunnel to slip men into the castle, and Nathair uses the power of being a little fuck to attack Brennan at a feast. After all is said and done, Brennan is dead, Corban's dad is dead, and Corban leads an escape party through the secret tunnel. The book ends with Team Corban heading for Dun Carreg, some old giant ruins where the group can nurse their wounds. Oh, and Jael killed Castell, so we won't have to hear from him again.
Never again.
There we go. Castell's done.
That was beautiful.
All right. That was a busy one. My goodness.
There's a lot
the last
going on.
150 were popping.
And it's, especially true because you have all these different plot points just all coming together. A little bit of overlap, which is exciting. But at the end of the day, we get to say Secret Tunnel 3 more times.
Yeah, I also think every time we talk about Corban's growing collection of animals, I'm going to play the Gotta Catch 'Em All. A little soundbite from the...
I do like that.
So, I mean, we're going to have to get to the exciting ending, the multiple battles, but I wonder if we should get some of the fun and games out of the way first before we talk sort of about the big climax.
I think we should. I think we should also start with our rating for this section.
Ooh, our rating, I guess we should do this at the end of the episode after, because last time our rating climbed by like 0.5. But
at the end of this one, we'll do the whole book.
Okay, so what are you feeling on Malice as a whole?
Well, no, I don't want to do it now. I got to see. We can see what we think of how it all wraps up. But I think this section for me is a 7.7.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that's like more or less on par with the previous section, kind of the middle of the book?
I think so.
Man, I would rate it a little bit higher. I think some of my favorite moments in the book were in this section. I mean, especially sort of, I think the Corban and Storm stuff. It's not that anything unpredictable happened. It was quite the opposite, in fact. But I did think like John Gwynne really stopped the landing with. I mean, when he had to like send Storm back into the forest, he had to like hit the dog with a sword and all this stuff. It was actually like heart wrenching. I was torn up about it.
The dog saga was really satisfying in this entire episode.
Yeah,
I think it was the like random cousin betrayal battle stuff that I got stuck on a little bit. But other than that, it was still really good. I was still really happy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So maybe let's start with sort of the at least end of Act 1 of the Corban and Rafe saga. So in this section, we sort of get Corban, he's playing the role of Cywin, where he tries to break up an instance of bullying, and then the guy's being bullied gets mad because Corban made him look like less of a man. But eventually that boils over, and there's a full-on fight a few chapters later, and Storm does the right thing and rips a huge chunk of Rafe's arm out.
Was I the only one that thought he took his entire arm off?
I didn't, because they talked about like seeing a glint of bone or something in there.
Dude, I got hyped. I was like, Storm is just running off with a chew toy. That's Rafe's entire arm.
But if you ripped off Rafe's like arm or hand or something, that would mean that Rafe has to become the main character of the story due to the laws of fantasy. So
that's true. But all in all, him and his entire family and friends are terrible bullies because they can't back any of their claims up. His dad's a little fuckboy who can't stand up to a child or a dad.
Yeah.
And then Rafe gets his shit kicked in by Storm.
Yeah. There was another instance of sort of like good guy Brennan afterwards when they go to have their little mini trial about what happened, and Brennan sort of sees through the BS. And
he's like, you deserved every ounce of this.
Yeah, and he takes away his sword and spear, which I think means like nothing.
It doesn't mean much, but it's the shame. It's just the public humiliation of being like, you're not even a man. Because it's the whole thing centers around like you become a man by earning your sword and your shields,
right?
Yeah, and the long night and the trial and everything. So taking it away just means like you're less than a man because you embarrassed us.
Well, he's a huge embarrassment, and he
also what's an embarrassment? Go ahead. Also an embarrassment is the fact that Corban falls asleep again
during his long night.
No, before the long night. He's running with fucking Storm to flee afterwards, and he falls asleep in like a shed.
Does he really?
Yeah. He's like, I'm on the run. I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm just going to take a little nap.
I'm going to stop for the night.
And then he wakes up and sends Storm off into the woods in the most heartbreaking scene of the novel.
God. Well, as we established, he has a very busy schedule. And if he needs to take a nap before sending his best friend off into the woods to die, then so be it. And then this is obviously not the end of Corban v. Rafe, but I don't know if we want to table their future fights for sort of when we get to the end of the book.
I think we table because in this little section, there's also a pretty big time jump after Corban passes his test in general, or he passes the field trial or whatever all the crap is.
Yeah.
But Big Mike comes and gives him a little chat as well.
He does, yeah. So Big Mike sort of flees the scene somewhat suspiciously, at least I guess in Nathair's eyes. In my eyes too, I think until the end of this section I was not sure whether Mike's going to be a good guy or a bad guy, and maybe even now I don't fully know what he's all about. But he flees the scene after, as we learn, Nathair kills his dad and comes to visit a bunch of the people in Dun Carreg, including Corban's parents.
Yes, the little trio of Gar and Corban's mom and Big Mike really sets the scene. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
it's great. It's like it was nice to get sort of some answers about Gar, this guy who's like been in Corban's life so much, and we learn that I think he said he's been working for Big Mike for like 16 years or something. And Mike just tells them they're gonna have to bail soon. They're gonna have to get out of Dun Carreg, and he sort of pointedly says, even if King Aquil's kin comes here, please avoid them.
Spoiler.
So he seems to know what's up with Nathair.
He really does foreshadow the shit out of everything that happens. He's like, you better get out of there before the long nights. You better not listen to the king's kid. And then what happens? The king's kid shows up and everything happens on the long night.
Yeah. It is weird that they like are discussing all of this so openly. And like Corban's mom knows that Mike thinks he's the bright star or whatever, and then he won't like just say, I think Nathair is allied with the devil. You should try to avoid him. He'll probably try to kill your son.
A little more specific.
Yeah. But whatever. He has his own techniques.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, he is spotted though. Big Mike is spotted riding out of town, having some conversations. A little crow is sent by a traitor all the way back to our boys Nathair and Calidus.
Yeah, we were discussing this before the pod. I did not have any idea what Ventos the traitor was doing when he sent that message. And I did no research to attempt to connect the dots. So I'm trusting you that he was in communication with like Calidus and those people.
Yeah, trust me. I know. Yeah. I know what I'm talking about.
Readers, this one's on Travis.
I haven't messed anything up factually in all of my discussions about this book.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God these are early apps. I don't have people fact checking us. So where do we go from here? I think that covers a lot of the Corban stuff sort of before shit goes down. I did notice the timing of all this is kind of funny because I think the way you described it was like Corban sits his long night and then shit goes south. There's actually sort of like a weird structure to it where they go to Uthendune and sort of Evnis pulls his trick and kills the son of Owen. Then they go back home and all of a sudden we're like back to business as usual. And Corban like sits the long night. Yeah. There was like a little bit of whiplash because there wasn't even a chapter change. Mm-hmm. They just did like the double space. And then
yeah, I will say John Gwynne plays with time a little bit in a way that confuses me. Like I kind of went back and looked and it's like 1122 is the prologue when Evnis is first doing his cauldron business with Asfrost. And 1140 is when we first find Ban. And then like 1141 to 1142 is kind of like when things happen, but he skips a couple of weeks here and there. And then sometimes he doesn't skip time at all. So it can be a little bit tricky to figure out like when things are happening.
Yeah. Do we know how, like roughly how old Orb is by the end of the book?
I don't. I want to guess he's probably like 16.
Yeah. In my brain, he's like 15, 16, but yeah, we would have to go actually look that up. But I mean, he seems like pretty age appropriate, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But should we talk about the little Braith Ren saga that the boys get their little trouble into?
We should, yeah. So for reasons unbeknownst to me, I think it's due to some politicking and Game of Thrones general political posturing. The people of Dun Carreg go to Uthendune, which is Owen's place. And yeah, shit hits the fan. Evnis starts like springing all of the traps and laying his, actually carrying out the plans he's been working on for a little while. So Cywin, the queen, Idana, Ronan, Tull, so basically everyone but Corban and Brennan from Dun Carreg go on a bit of a joyride into the forest and like are immediately set upon by
such an ill-advised joyride. It's one of the dumbest joyrides I've ever heard of in my life.
Well, did they have any reason to think that they might be just like attacked and killed?
I mean, okay, so they spent, let's call it like a month before this episode. They spent like 3 weeks clearing out the woods of half of the raiders, but they didn't kill the leader.
Right.
Braith. And then they come back a little bit triumphant and beaten up. Then they go basically across the street to this wedding, which is right next to the forest that everybody says to avoid for the entire fucking book. And right after the wedding or whatever it is, they're like, why don't we just take a little nice stroll through the woods? Just the women and the guard. It's like, what did you think was going to happen?
The contested woods that we just ward over that are also hunted by Wolven and the God War's coming.
And this is actually, no, I wouldn't have gone. But I really like the little Braith backstory here where we basically have the shortest revenge plot in the history of novels. Yes. We figure out Braith's backstory. He's furious that Pendergrast and Brennan and all these people kicked his ass in the woods. And he literally says he's going to have his vengeance. And then probably 8 pages later, he takes his vengeance out.
He takes his vengeance.
Yeah, it really stewed. It took a long time.
He's a very efficient man.
He is efficient, but it's very confusing because basically to set it all off, Evnis is still plotting with Ren in the background. Ren's a bit of a batty bitch. And so Evnis sends some soldiers with her to Braith, disguised as another one of their allies. And then Evnis does a magical spell that gives him a disguise as Merrick, one of Brennan's people, and assassinates the cousin.
Yeah, the way he does it, he uses the spell twice, right? This incantation. He turns himself into a bodyguard, more or less, and then so he can get access to Owen's kid. kills him, and then switcheroos into Marok and leaves the chambers that everyone thinks Marok was actually the one who did the killing. And the plan works flawlessly. Everyone does, in fact, believe that. And then there's sort of the extra layer, too, where the guys in the forest, I guess, are disguised as Owen's men.
Right.
So there's sort of like fake violence being committed, or real violence committed on behalf of these people. So a lot of framing going on.
A lot of framing, and also a pretty tough one to dispute from Merrick's perspective. Like, Brennan and everybody really just buys his story. And I was a little surprised. He's like, guys, it wasn't me. It was clearly a shapeshifter.
Yeah, no, he has a book of the earth power. No, trust me, he found it when he killed that worm.
I was like, Mom, it's not my weed. I was just holding it for a friend.
There's a skunk in our house.
Yeah.
So this is sort of the point where characters start just dying left and right. And I really wasn't, for this kind of book that does feel sort of tropey and tried and true and sort of like sticking to the classics, I was not expecting so many people to die.
It was a bit of a bummer.
I know, especially, I don't want to say especially Toll. Like, yes, obviously,
especially Toll.
The other people died, but yeah, Toll was such a badass.
Toll was a legend.
He was. I will say, I am glad that like when Toll had been stuck with a few arrows, he killed a few people, and they sort of had him circled.
Yeah,
he was like begging everyone to 1v1 him, and I was really glad that no one did. And that people just acted rationally and like, no, this guy kicks ass. Let's just shoot him with an arrow and he'll die.
Yeah. Braith is a little bitch, but he is a rational villain, and I really respect him for it. Like, he made an alliance with the local queen. He shot Tull in the back of the leg with an arrow instead of fighting him. Like, no wonder this dude has stayed alive in the woods for like 10 years, just marauding.
It was a little bit of like an epic anime line, but when Morcant is talking to Tull in the forest, he's Tull is like, "Are you ready for your next lesson?"
He just gets shot,
and Morcant more or less says, "No, I am not. I would not like another lesson. No pocket sand. I'm gonna."
I noticed a little trend in that section.
Yeah,
which made me look up a few other lines by John Gwynne.
Mm-hmm.
And I think John Gwynne is subtly saying throughout this book that if you don't use a sword, you're a little sissy bitch.
He definitely says that. Corban, notably, is bad with the bow, which I think makes him extra cool.
And I'd like to read a quote from you on page 382.
Please turn to
turn in your hymnals.
Yeah, our Lord and Savior John Gwynne.
He knew there was sense in Hallion's words, but he was hungry to learn with a blade. There was just no honor in a bow unless you were a huntsman. He says this about 4 times. And I think it's an allegory for John Gwynne thinking guns are dumb.
You think he's anti-gun? I
think he's anti-gun.
Like because of the way they changed warfare and made like wanton killing easier. Sort of like the precursor to nuclear warfare.
And from what we know about John Gwynne, he makes swords.
Oh yeah, he does have a forge that he does, the shirtless forge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. I gotta say, I'm not necessarily getting anti-war vibes from this book.
Not anti-war, just anti-gun.
Okay. He's pro. This is a decisively pro-war, pro-violence book.
It's a niche. You don't see a lot in modern society, but it's pro-war and violence, anti-advanced weaponry.
It is. I was thinking about this just in general. Like, there are books that are like, quote unquote, like books of ideas, where the book obviously is a story, but it is sort of a means for telling you something. I'm getting like no worldview from Malice.
No, there's not a lot of things to strip out from this.
Like, it's not a commentary really on anything, which is totally fine. It's just
but I think that's what I'm grasping. I'm grasping at some commentary, and what I've decided is that horses are good.
Yeah.
Dogs are our friends, and guns are bad.
Truth and courage.
Truth and courage saves the day.
Truth and courage. Truth is an odd one. Courage seems good.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of truth, actually. Corban lies all the time.
Yeah, I definitely think Nathair is following his own truth, and it is going to lead to disaster.
Yeah. But anyway, we're back in the woods. Tull has his last stand. Cylon Kywin, I can't remember. Her new boyfriend is killed right in front of her, which is a bummer.
Yeah, we were laughing about this because we were saying in the early stages of the book that it was unusual and that there was literally no romance in the books. Right after we said that, Cywin's sort of like starts looking at Ronan, and we get these seeds of romance. And then I think John Gwynne came back to his senses. Like, no, this is not a book about romance.
No.
I opened this can of worms. I got to shut it immediately and get Ronan killed.
Yeah, there's like one half kiss that's alluded to, and then he dies.
Well,
but they get away pretty well. We get kind of Corban coming in with Storm to save the day.
Mhm.
Gar is limping along through the woods. We get to see him in action for a little bit.
Yeah, limping until he's not limping.
Limping until he's just the God's gift to swordsmen all of a sudden.
I love his commitment to the bit, though, that he's been fake limping for like a decade.
I love that people still just don't get it. They're like, well, he just killed 20 people in the woods with a sword. Like, oh, he's not gonna be able to keep up with us.
Damn, the stable master our crippled stable master really popped off there, but I'm sure he can't keep it up. In Corban, speaking of becoming a man in Truth and Courage, gets his first kill, a heartwarming scene.
Yes, every boy's dream.
Yeah. Speaking of like Corban sort of being age appropriate, I did think that the kill seemed like appropriately lucky and difficult for someone of his age and his training. And I liked that, even though Corban, I think, is going to be like a world-striding badass by the end of this series, at least right now, he sort of is a kid and has his powers appropriately scaled.
Yeah, it was a good scene. It was like a bit of an homage to, every teenage boy that has that plan in their head when they're sleeping about how they're going to defend their house if anybody breaks in. And you're like, I have a mace in the other room and I have a baseball bat under my bed and I'll do a triple spinning kick and smack one guy and throw the other guy down the stairs. And the reality is like, you'd wet your pants and just stand there.
Cry.
And Corban like falls down 3 times. He slips on the rock. He has a panic attack and then he just like kind of accidentally kills a dude. And I think that's pretty appropriate.
Yeah, gets the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess Brina's crow continues to be extremely useful and
really helpful.
Leads them back to Brina, she's trying to tend to the queen, but queen unfortunately too far gone.
That was also a bummer because they spent like a long time saving this queen, and then she just gets hit by one arrow out of nowhere and dies.
Yeah, and I was interested in the queen too, like her relationship with her brother, and I don't know. I mean, I guess it just seems like everyone in Team Brennan was born to die, but I wish some of them would survive. Adana's alive still, so.
I was just thinking, does this book pass the Bechdel test?
Bechtel.
I think it does.
My elementary understanding of it is you have to have a female character who's not there, sort of in a support role, but is doing her own thing.
My take was you have to have 2 female characters talk to each other, and it's not about a guy.
Well, that was immediately checked off with the horse pimple scene in the first section.
True. That's actually true. Yeah, we have the princess and Kywin.
That's the real glass ceiling, is showing women popping horse hoof pimples.
He really just threw it out there and then never returned to developing a female character for the rest of the book.
I think Cywin actually is going to be like a big player moving forward.
She is cool. And throughout the entire wood scene, to her credit, she's throwing little knives at people.
She's chucking knives.
I think she kills someone before Corban does.
What do you imagine a throwing knife looking like?
Shuriken. So
you're doing throwing star.
Yeah, I like to think of it like that.
Well, that's more fun. That makes more sense because I need to do another 4 seconds of Wikipedia research to see if throwing knives are a thing. My understanding is that throwing a knife is fucking impossible because one of the ends is blunt. You would not. It's not really a useful.
You've never gone axe throwing?
I have, but it doesn't seem like a good battle. No, it doesn't seem like a good battle strategy because you have to time the flips.
Yeah, if you're good.
Right? So you're saying I'm bad, and if I were good, I would think differently.
Totally.
Well, I disagree. I think I'm a good axe thrower.
Good for you, buddy.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, and we sort of skipped over Kimlin's role in all this.
Kimlin's a good guy now.
Yeah, he switches teams, which the seeds were planted when Brennan made him feel bad about killing a bunch of innocent people. Yes,
and actually, it is. He's still kind of on Team Braith. He's with him plotting this revenge porn that Braith has been drumming up for 17 seconds in the village. And it comes to the point where I think it's Braith wants to kill Cywin. And he's like, no, I told you, no women, no kids. Yeah. And they switch sides, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually more Cant.
Oh, it's more Cant. That's right.
Yeah. And Cywin pulls the untie me and I'll 1v1 you. thing, and Morkan says, "No, I'll just kill you right here." And
It's very logical
Camlin,
again.
yeah. Although I don't know, does this make him a good guy? Because on one hand, he was anti-violence, which is exceedingly rare in this series.
True.
On the other hand, is he misogynistic? Because I don't think he would have saved a young boy, but he did save a young girl.
It's true. I mean, this kind of asshole is the type who opens doors. It's just unbelievable.
I know. There's such a fine line between kindness and misogyny.
Let her do it herself, you know.
Yeah. Save yourself, Siwa.
Yeah.
Hey. Hey, ladies. I'm gonna hang back. You got this.
Yeah.
She just dies. Yeah. So that basically wraps up the events of the forest and their visit to Uthan.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing something.
No, this is pretty much everything before the long night. So they take their very hard hit crew back to King Brennan's lands. They're missing some heroes from the beginning of the book. And generally the sense is like, let's try to repair relations with the other kingdom that Merrick potentially, might have murdered the son of, and see what we're doing. But let's hunker down for a little bit. And so we kind of naturally switch over to a few other characters' POVs.
Cool. So moving away from Team Corban for a little bit, we get some action with Castell. I'm sure you were dying to talk about him.
I fucking hate Castell.
Has enlisted in order to avoid his fight with his cousin, and it fucking sucks. He is in Apocalypse Now.
Dude,
and he's in the jungle.
Imagine being so bad at confrontation with your own family that you sign up to fight literal giants in the woods.
Yeah. This is sort of like years ago when I told you that didn't I say I wanted to like fake my own death to get out of a relationship?
I was either that or law school.
I think, maybe my student debt, I can fake my death and get out of that.
Yeah.
In another country. Or if we ever set up a Patreon for this, maybe we can do a student debt fund.
That'd be pretty good, yeah.
To help, honestly, helping a struggling lawyer is not a strong pitch, but maybe helping a struggling podcaster with debt.
That's true. That's how you got to frame it. A Portland podcaster.
Yeah.
Just a dime a dozen these days.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The most sympathetic group.
Yeah. But you were in a tough spot, just like our boy. Just like
Castell.
Yeah.
I was up against it.
I do have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Well, one, does anything good happen in Mikil?
Happen what?
In Mikkel, wherever they live.
Oh, his shit town that he's from?
Yeah. No. The answer is no. Nothing good ever happens there.
Well, anyway, that's what he's been saying, and he says
it about 10 more fucking times. But my real question is, what did his dad do?
Yes, I know. I really want to know. Jail knows, but won't tell him. And then, kind of annoyingly, Castell's uncle also won't tell him.
Yeah. It's super dumb because he's like, so he's the king, and he's like, yeah, everybody calm down. Jail, Castle, get along. And then Castle's like, yeah, I should probably just dip. Nobody likes me here. And he's trying to convince him to stay, but he won't tell him anything. It's really dumb.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where like a lack of communication starts to feel more like a plot device than people just having their own interests. But
because if there was something this dramatic that happened in the royal family of this town, like everybody would have heard about it, including
and it's not like Castle's an adult. Like it's not like he's a 10-year-old kid who's not ready to hear. Like he is having an ongoing sort of debilitating feud with his cousin about this very thing. It seems like he should be let in.
Yeah, cousins and little brothers, things to avoid.
Fucking cousins, man.
But so we'll chalk that up into unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Maybe so lost John.
We got another GTA cop incident with the Giants where they aggroed the cops and then had to run away.
Dude, I was chuckling so hard when I was reading that because I was imagining exactly the 4 stars above Castle's head.
Oh, fuck.
And just the little GTA animation.
Yeah, they've got the giant helicopter is coming.
This guy cannot stop aggroing giants.
I think John Gwynne thought this was funny too, because when the giants start chasing them, I can't remember which character it is, but one of them says something to the effect of like, fuck.
It's like this again.
Like, this again.
And then it kind
Outrun
of cuts.
giants.
It cuts to dark. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, that's fantastic. But yeah, his sort of like riverboat guard duty when he's in the giant fighting army seems horrible.
Yeah, and they
Like,
get
I know
dumpstered.
It was funny because they built it up as this honorable thing. Like, these are the badasses of all badasses. They get to go do this. And then when you see it, it's like, oh my God, this sucks. This is the worst job in the Banished Lands.
Yeah, I mean, I thought of it kind of in the Game of Thrones context as the dudes on the wall, where it's like, yeah, it's kind of honorable. It's also kind of like people that are running away from parts of their life that they want to escape, but they're also just like somehow really bad at fighting when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it's well, I would not be invited to join the giant fighting army. I think if I lived in the Banished Lands.
No, but they get beat up pretty bad, and then they kind of go back to HQ. And it turns out there's some pretty cool people in this giant fighting army, though.
Oh yeah, his boss is just killing giants left and right. Like, it's no problem. That was
they're running from the giants for like 2 weeks again, and then their boss just kills them both in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I was thinking it was sort of cool. He was fighting. Kestel was fighting on horseback for a little while, and I hadn't really thought about it. But you're so high when you're on a horse that must be a big advantage against the giants, because then you sort of like are at the same height as them. You can.
Are you saying a horse saved the day?
I hate to listen. I'm not pro horse. I'm not joining the pro horse caucus, but I am starting to see some of their advantages. That said, I would prefer a drake.
Fair. A drake.
A drake. A good Minnesotan drake.
Good old drake. We also torture a giant, which is a little gnarly.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And he basically says, we're prepping for the God War. So the giants, we now realize, are gathering iron to build weapons to fight this terrifying God War.
Yeah, they did torture a giant to squeeze out information that the entire Banished Lands already had, but it's fine.
That we'd already talked about publicly several times.
Yeah, maybe the ends didn't justify the means in this instance, but whatever. They're getting iron. They got to make weapons.
Yeah.
There's a worm in the river too.
Oh, that's right. The worms and the giants.
An aquatic worm. Yeah.
Yeah. So the worms appear, to my deductive senses, to be in league with the baddies.
Yeah. Well, are we going to get a friendly Storm-esque worm?
A talking worm.
Maybe. No, I think we go full Paul Atreides and Corban rides.
He's gonna ride the worm.
He's gonna ride the worm.
Dude, imagine a worm Drake battle between Nathair and Corban.
I think oh man, I wonder who takes that.
The worm.
Worm v Drake.
Yeah, the worm. The worm in my mind is like 20 feet long.
Yeah, I hate to keep picking this fight about whether the worm is a snake or a dragon.
Fucking dragon.
Well, when the worm showed up, it did swallow a guy, which to me is a very snake-like thing to do.
You don't think a dragon can swallow somebody?
No, it can, but I think the way that it was described, I was imagining, when snakes swallow things.
They're juvenile dragons.
Really large.
They're juvenile dragons. Yeah.
Well,
it's like Metapod and Caterpie.
Thank God book 2 is already out, so we can.
Metapod just looks like a little worm boy, and then Butterfree is going to flap his wings.
And then he turns into a really fragile, kind of useless Pokemon.
Stops hardening.
Yeah. Harden and tackle. Those are my 2.
Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like we just keep hitting on Pokemon in this pod, but whatever. Yeah. It's having a renaissance.
It is.
That's basically it with the Kestel stuff before
he meets up with Nathair.
Yeah, he ends up teaming up with Nathair and Verdus, and they sort of already had the seeds of a friendship planted.
Yeah, and catching up with Nathair's little, what happens to get to this point in the chronology. He basically goes on a revenge tour where he's like, what's his face? Mandros. Is Mandros the villain from Star Fox?
I never played Star Fox.
That's sad.
I know.
Anyway,
do a barrel roll. I know that.
Slippy, no.
Do a barrel roll.
But he goes to chase after him and like revenge army. This man killed my father, even though he just blatantly killed his dad. And what's even funnier is the way that Nathair tells the story to everyone is like, oh, he stole my sword and stabbed my dad. And it's like, dude, you didn't even use a different sword. You killed him with your own sword.
Yeah. He's committed. They didn't have fingerprinting tech at this point. So what's the risk?
He had some plausible deniability. But anyway, so Nathair rides out. They basically are sieging Mandros, who is still denying all involvement in this murder and really just, GTFO'd as soon as he heard about it and saw it.
Dude, it's weird how people who are framed for murders aggressively deny.
I mean, how dare he? How dare he deny the crime?
How dare he was more or less Veritas' response when Mandros said, like, he was sort of laying out the facts and talking about how suspicious it all was.
Yeah.
And Veritas says, la, 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 I do not hear you.
He just gets madder and madder.
Yeah, he cuts off his head.
Yeah. But Nathair also recruits another younger brother or another shitty son to his little army, who's Mandros' son, who's a power-hungry boy.
Mandros' son turned on his dad incredibly quickly.
Yeah. To just be like the number 8 guy in the army of Nathair.
Yeah.
It was weak. But he does chop off his head. So Veritas, defending his boy Nathair's honor, just straight murks this dude. And all the other kings, as we come to find out, are very upset about that fact. Because king's justice.
Veritas is parading around Mandros' kingdom with Mandros' head on a spike. And Veritas' smarter, cooler, more attractive older brother has to tell him that some people might find that offensive. It might anger some people.
We never said Veritas was the smartest tool in the shed.
God, Nathair really should recruit Veritas' older brother. No, Veritas, but his older brother would be too smart. He would be like, there's an inky blackness radiating off of this man. Like,
he's a clear shadow. He has no reflection in the mirror. He only eats like extra raw steak with his hands.
Yeah, this man who's nursing a baby drake who's talking about like subduing all of the banished lands is maybe not the guy I want to fall in line with.
But it does support my theory from early in the book that Veritas is going to have to fight his older brother one day. I think that's really going to happen.
I hate that. It's like the Clegane Bowl.
Yeah, because he's starting to do, in his little internal monologue before he beheads Mandros, he's starting to really doubt himself and be like, I think I'm doing something wrong here, or something feels off.
Yeah. So, but you still don't think that he's going to eventually come to Team Corban?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's going to be too far gone.
Yeah.
And Corban's going to have to put him down like Storm.
No, we're not putting Storm down. Storm, if there's one character who's surviving this whole thing, it's Storm and Shield.
That's true.
Yeah, I feel like we do agree on this. It seems like Veritas he's walking this path where he's going to commit some serious atrocity in service of Nathair that, even if it doesn't make him change teams, is going to cause him to lose some sleep. So we'll see where that goes.
And then what happens? Nathair basically goes and teams up with Castle and the Giant Hunters and Jail and everybody else. Yeah. And they go to rescue the Star Axe thing. The
Star Stone Axe, which is, I guess, was originally owned by Castell's uncle. Is that who it is?
But as like a tourist attraction.
Yeah, just as a fun, cool thing. Which I imagine that Nathair's interest in the axe is less as a mantle decoration and more as a means to conquer the world.
No, I think he has a fascination with regional economics and urban planning.
Oh yeah, you think?
And tourism attraction.
Yeah. So I guess we'll cover that because I feel like we should end by discussing sort of the Owen's attack on Dun Carreg. But this crew, sort of the Veritas, Castell, not Nathair, because Nathair is actually back at Dun Carreg, but those guys and a few others, they go sort of for one last fight against the Giants to rescue the Starstone Axe. I don't know that I have too much to say about the fight scene itself, other than...
No, they do some more magic.
Yeah.
Calidus and the Giants. I still don't get the magic. They sing songs and they get sweaty. And then there's a mist. And the magic isn't compelling for me so far.
No, it's not, but I'm not too worried about it because it's like such a secondary thing about the world, and it feels like it's going to be really developed as we go along. So
Right.
I'm not too torn up about it. And then sort of they clear some giants, and then they follow them into a sort of what I'm imagining as a tunnel, like a mine shaft, something
I think
like
it's
that.
a tomb. I think it's think of it like an Egyptian tomb.
Okay.
Because they said that was like their historical burial ground
Right.
for the giants. So I think it's just like deep, dark skeletons everywhere and hieroglyphs and whatever you need.
I say it's very maze-like. It seems horrible. And then they sort of have to fight these giants in really close quarters, and
yep,
they make it through, but I think with heavy losses.
Yeah, they beat him up, and then King Romar claims his axe back, and all's right with the world. We end there.
Until that very axe is used to cut Romar in half.
Yes, from diagonally.
Diagonally. You vertical slicer, diagonal slicer, or horizontal slicer?
I think diagonal seems kind of frisky.
I was talking about sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. I like triangles.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
With humans and with sandwiches, I think you go diagonal.
Actually, just cut the middle out and do a crust only.
Oh, a crustable?
Yeah.
Smucker's Crustables? It's just dry crust, no peanut.
It's just dry crust with like little flecks of peanut butter and jelly on them.
Yeah. That sounds good. Maybe that is like that seems like one of these like bullshit McKinsey consulting efficiency things. They're like, you could actually sell the crust and increase your margins.
Like, we're going to have a loaf of all heel bread. And that same sort of passionate defense of an idea is shown by Jael as he tries to kill Castle.
Nice.
Thanks.
Slick. And Castle dies.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it was sort of a weird, like I think he gets like stabbed and punched or something and then blacks out, and it was a classic John Gwynne blackout, and
I think he's dead.
The last we hear. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to come back in book 2. That's my prediction.
We switch over and Jael is the POV character. Yeah. We have to get on. It would be funny if that happened and we turn out that Jael is a very sympathetic figure and Castle was a little fuck.
Yeah, or like Castle's dad did something truly horrible. It's like,
your dad killed all of my siblings.
Yeah. It's just righteous justice, and Nathair's the good guy too. But we kind of end. So one side of the universe, Nathair's army has like fully coalesced. He's got a giant, a magician, several angry younger brothers, cousins, and traitorous sons,
and the Jahar,
and the entire army of the Jahar, and they're kind of just a Drake, and now a magic axe. So they're ready to fight.
Doing well.
Yeah,
he's doing incredibly well. So that's sort of where we leave them. So I guess we'll cover more or less the end of the book, which is the events at Dun Carreg. So after Evnis's trickery with Owen marches across the country to come take his revenge on King Brennan for a thing that Brennan didn't do. This also seems like a theme.
And
people not asking questions and just immediately trying to chop off heads. But.
Yeah, but I mean, also rational. It's a pretty rational area in Dun Carreg.
I mean, I guess to Evnis's credit, as we talked about, his little trickery was pretty persuasive. So
yeah, and to be fair, I also don't understand who anybody is in this section. There's like 5 brother-cousin relationships between Owen and Dalgar and Braster. I don't even know who these people are.
Oh, I gave up.
Yeah. So anyway, angry guy coming back, but also kind of leading up to this, Nathair came to town. He sailed his ass in there, and he's chatting with Brennan.
Yeah. This made me feel like I fundamentally didn't understand the political structure of the Banished Lands, because Brennan's talking to Nathair and he explains the situation. He's like, oh, this guy thinks I killed his son. I didn't. And he wants to kill me. And Nathair's like, all right, I have no position on this. I will think about it, but as of yet. And then Brennan also tells us, like, yeah, Ren wants to kill me too. That's too far gone. Don't worry about it. One of us will come out alive.
And Nathair's like, yeah, I'm not messing with that. I'm not picking sides.
Yeah, sounds good.
And Brennan even takes it a step further. He's like, I'm not going to help you. And I also think you're a lying little shit. And I'm going to help investigate your father's death at some point.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's like It's sort of the last moment of good Brennan we get, because I think the next time we check in on him is when he is like sad drunk at the feast where he
super
ultimately
tanked.
passes. Yeah.
But yeah, and Nathair is, I think this supports his like compelled by the devil thing, because he's like increasingly angry that Brennan isn't telling the whole truth about his meeting with Big Mike. And that's what he's like really getting at. And he ends up kind of from a spy, I think, knowing that Big Mike was really meeting with the king, gets super mad. And they actually, the sad drunk is he gets drugged.
Oh no, he was roofied?
He got roofied.
Oh my god. I
think Evnis roofied him.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's
I remember at some point they're like,
talk about using a bow is dishonorable. Using a roofie is like way down there.
They roofied him like in his own like mourning of his wife.
Wow. Well, I mean, they were planning to kill him, so whatever.
Yeah, basically.
That's something we should quibble with.
Yeah, but they're basically they're having. What? Walk me through the events here.
They're having a feast. There's an initial skirmish outside of the walls of Dun Carreg where some losses on both sides. Pendathrin's son dies, which is sad.
Yes.
Brings him back. And then because it's a siege, it sort of goes back to the status quo where there's an army outside the walls.
And Corban kicked off the siege by falling asleep in the middle of this long night and waking up to an invasion.
Exactly, yes. And then to sort of shoehorn in some more Corban fun and games into this siege of Dun Carreg at the feast, because Corban is now a real man because he camped, Rafe calls him out and says, we need to go. What is it called? The Court of Swords?
Yeah.
It's badass.
And this is a true like Team Rocket v Ash scenario. Like, Rafe and his little dad have tried to fuck with Corban like 6 times now, and it's just gotten increasingly worse for them.
Maybe Rafe is like the Skeletor villain who just gets killed every episode. But yeah, I thought this was cool because in the past, Rafe he's a bit older. He's been training more, and he seems like he's had the upper hand in these fights with Corban. But now Corban's had more time, Rowanfield, and it's just like a solid ass kicking. It's over. I looked it up. It's 2 paragraphs.
Oh yeah, and it's like clinical.
Yeah,
and I think part of it is like Corban's like fed up, and he's clearly realized he hit puberty like this past year, and he's pretty strong.
Yeah,
and he's also like he killed a guy, and so now
I've killed a guy.
Yeah, he's like, I killed a guy.
Creatine. Yeah, don't fuck with me, right?
It's like I have several swordmaster trainers that I work with pre-dawn.
I've been trained by our crippled stable master who seems to know something about the sword.
Yes, and a mysterious outsider who is also a swordsmaster.
Yeah. Then Corban he got a little lucky with those guys.
Yeah, but he kicks his ass like very resoundingly.
Everyone's very impressed by this because he's sort of doing it in front of everyone, including a roofied Brennan. So.
And roofied Brennan could not give 2 shits, which is kind of that's like a very sad point.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
That was a bad look, especially bad from my perspective, not knowing he was roofied. I was like, man, this guy is really being a little shit right now. Yeah. Corban also, he has some words for Brennan at the end.
He actually calls him a little bitch.
He does, which, again, I think Corban, much like me, didn't know that Brennan was roofied. So,
yes,
he's doing a bit of victim blaming here, but it's okay.
A little bit.
So, I mean, not long after that, we get some of this from Cylon's perspective. She is sort of on the walls, taking a look at the army camped out there. And Evnis uses the secret tunnel. Brings some guys in.
He does. Through the back gates.
The raid is on at this point.
He unlatches the door. Like, all these guys are having a feast because their door is so soundly locked, and he just flicks it open.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's pretty much a rout at this point. It's a complete disaster for the people of Dun Carreg. And so not only does Evnis bring his trap, but that's when I guess we get Nathair's ultimate decision about how to handle this conflict. And he turns out to be on team kill Brennan because he is weak. So
and he just kills him.
Yeah, he gives him a little speech. He's like, if you're too fucking stupid to kill Evnis and Ren, then like I don't need you. You're not making the team.
Which is pretty good. Like a lot of rational villains. Like I'm pretty with it.
Yeah. Well, I guess do Evnis Yes, we do get some closure. So Evnis becomes aware of Nathair, and I don't know, do they have a conversation? But there's some way that they're allied by the end of this, right?
Yeah, I believe so. A few like highlights from the scene from my perspective. Cywin is on the wall and ends up fighting a bunch of baddies and falling. And we kind of leave on the same mystery of Castle, like, will she survive? Is she dead? They can't rescue her, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No brain matter, but we get an epic fight between Gar and the Jahar leader that is Nathair's bodyguard.
Incredibly cool fight. Yeah, that was, I mean, super badass. And I mean, I think we learned a little bit more about the Jahar, which I know both of us have been really interested in, where Gar says that, you know, I serve some other Jahar leader. And so there's some, like, aside from the personal conflict, some like larger political conflict in the Jahar.
Who was right about Gar?
Oh, yes.
Was I right?
You don't need to hold this over me. I will happily admit when you're right. He's not a Ben Elam, as far as we know.
True.
He is
one of the Jahar that fled because he thought there was a different true, you know, whatever, saint boy.
Is that confirmed?
That's my take on it. Like, you know, they say there were a few that left the Jahar because they disagreed with the vision that the current Jahar leaders have. So I think there's a little bit internal conflict there.
There's a very tasty little bit of foreshadowing here where the guy that the other Jahar that Gar is fighting asks where his boss is. And he's like, is he here? And Gar, you know, obviously won't tell him. And I'm sort of waiting for there to be another person to reveal themselves as being Jahar. I don't know who it's going to be, but hopefully it's someone we've already met. That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool. It was like Big Mike or something. That'd be pretty badass.
Big Mike, Giant's Blood, Big Mike.
Giant's Blood Mike. But we get a big old skirmish. This is a messy indoor banquet hall battle.
A lot of the people we care about are crammed into this room. We get Camlin is firing off arrows, Legolas style, and then somewhat comically, I guess, although it does turn tragic, Rafe and his shitty dad decide to use the turmoil as a chance to finally exact revenge on this 15-year-old who's been causing them so many problems.
And again, they get killed.
Get their ass kicked. Yeah. Corban's dad, not a knight or whatever, but he's a fucking big dude, and he's got a hammer and a dog.
Yeah. He's a pretty big badass. Unfortunately, also dead.
Yeah, he did not make it. There was I can't remember who specifically he was fighting, but they formed a mini shield wall just against Corban's dad because he was so big and scary.
Just 5 dudes like interlocked, circling him in.
And I don't know what it's like to fight a shield wall, but they explain that Corban's dad just slams his hammer into the shield. It's like, I don't know, go over or under.
Just jump. I don't know.
But I feel like slamming directly into the shield is what they would want, right?
He's a big, dumb, like, kind blacksmith, you know?
He really is. He's the best.
Part of this whole book is like, advanced battle tactics are so confusing. We don't understand what to do about them. So, you know. And
then they do the pokey poke and get him in the legs, and it's kind of over. What kind of dog do you think? Budeye?
Oh, Bloodeye. I think it was like a big bloodhound.
Bloodhound. That's same, but it could be a basset hound.
I've never seen a violent basset hound. Just whipping its ears around like weapons.
He would be Corban style, taking naps left and right if he was a basset hound.
Just adorable.
Yeah.
Some other highlights. Vaughn joins the group with Corban.
He does.
Who is mad at his dad. Evnis had continually forbidden the marriage between him and the Fisher girl, which was a very minor plot. But he gets so fed up with his dad, he finally switches sides. Turns out he's a bit of a good guy now.
In the Banished Lands, the blood is definitely thinner than water.
Very thin.
Yeah, family ties are not valued.
Except for Owain. Except for Owain, who marches his entire army to enact revenge.
Yeah, that's true.
And at this point, they're kind of backed into the corner. It's not looking good for Ban and the crew. But he remembers the secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel. Do I have to do it too? I think you're doing
we all have to do it. Everybody has to do it.
I love it.
And so he takes it's a pretty cool squad. So it's Hallion, his master, Vaughn, who's now a friend, Brenna, the healer,
and the Crow.
Gar, the stable master, swords master.
Was Heb the lore master with them?
Heb is with them.
Because we get the sweet reveal.
They're magic.
Heb and Brenna, not just a humble apothecary,
sorcerers,
a user of magic, which I don't know if it's really a reveal.
That's pretty cool.
She was referred to as a witch over and over, but it's still badass.
And so they sneak their way out the back and casually kill a Wyrm in the river.
That's one
very, very easily. Like, I don't really know how that worked. And then they
established that Wyrms are really weak.
I'm really
except for the one that swallowed some guy in the when Castell was on giant.
I think there's different sizes and strengths and maturity levels of these Wyrms.
Yeah.
But the Wyrms are definitely on the team bad. So they fight their way through that, hop on a boat, make their escape, and they're trying to decide where they're going to flee to.
And they're going to some place I've never fucking heard of, and I'm not even sure. Is it on the map?
I don't fucking know, but it turns out Hallion, the mysterious outsider, is the bastard son of a king in the north that we've never heard of in some enchanted land.
King in the north.
And he's like, yeah, my dad will take you in probably. Let's go there.
Whoa. That's where the book I'm looking this up. They're going to Dun Carreg. Dun Carreg looks to be about 5 miles away from Dun Carreg, which is pretty funny. I guess then that sort of makes sense as a stopping point. Maybe they were just trying to get there in the intermediate term, or like, we'll stop there for a second and then move on. I sort of imagine them as like setting up shop in Dun Carreg, but maybe it would make more sense for them just to pop over there.
Oh, it's
figure out what's going on. Yeah.
Oh, it's just on the other side of the fucking forest.
Yeah,
they went further. Close. They went further than that for the wedding.
Yeah, people did I wonder if the timing actually, like, if you were one of these annoying nerds who, like, remember people hyper criticizing travel times in like later Game of Thrones seasons. I wonder if you could map out like the actual size of the Banished Lands if people were moving across it and like unrealistically quickly.
Oh, you're wrong. So it's the original suggestion to go to Dun Carreg, but then Hallion makes his reveal that it's Domhain. It's like domain with an H.
Where's that?
Which is
doesn't exist.
Oh, it's very north. It's northwest. It's like Portland.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the small names. This is like a country.
Yeah. So he's the king of Portland.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
They'll see an orca on their little boat trip up there.
So cute.
That would be nice.
And that's pretty much where we leave it. Like that's the finale.
Yeah, that's where we leave it. The sort of Team Corban people generally are headed to the northwest. Mm-hmm. Nathair is starting to collect his magical items. Evnis is doing some trickery. I'm sure he's going to talk to Nathair soon. And then Silent and Castell are dead.
Yeah, totally. Never coming back. Yeah.
Never coming back. Okay. So
final thoughts?
I guess we got to do our ratings now.
Yeah. I once again have changed my rating from the start of the episode to the end of the episode.
We're talking about all the fun stuff that's happened in these.
It was really fun. I am, for this section, increasing from 7.7 to 8.1. And overall, for the book, I'm an 8.3.
Nice. Very simpatico. I think that I'm going to sit at an 8.2 for the book as a whole. Just all in all, just a very positive experience. Would recommend it to people.
Super solid.
I mean, unless it's just like this type of fantasy is super not your thing. But
to be fair, like you need to enjoy like swords and Wyrm dragons and like old god returning to earth kind of lore. But if you like those things, honestly, it's a very fun, easy read, and it makes sense. And there's not a lot of like crazy plot holes. Yeah, and I like his writing style in general.
Yeah, it's really smooth. And I also think like if for readers who are maybe don't want their fantasy to be all too fantastical, then this might be a decent choice because it feels very character focused, at least at this point. Like a lot of this book is just spent like getting to know Corban, like him hanging out with his dog and like learning how to ride a horse.
And we're pretty invested. Once you figure out who the fuck everybody is, which takes like 30 minutes, then it gets really fun.
Yeah, sort of like zooming out. Did you feel like this book was a 600-page prologue to the Faithful and the Fallen series, or
You mentioned that this felt like just the world building of everything that was going to come.
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, yeah. This is kind of like The Hobbit to The Lord of the Rings, but I still feel like it could be a good standalone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like if I never read Valor, book 2 of this series, then I would still have like fond memories of this book. But
yeah,
I do feel like I would be shortchanging myself because I mean, a lot of what we got in this book was getting to know people.
right. And what we know is coming is a massive god war.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, for a first book, it's sort of ballsy by John Gwynne to put this out where you don't get a tremendous amount of payoff and you are sort of spending time with people, getting to know them. But I think by next book, right, the stakes are going to feel incredibly high, not just because there's a god war, but because we have a lot of people who we know and like and care about, and it feels like it's going to be worthwhile. Is sort of my feeling about
for
the work
sure
we put in here.
Yeah, and I appreciate that people are developing at pretty natural speeds. Like the magic system, I think is going to be exciting or cool, and I like that it started off kind of lame because I'm sure there's like more interesting ways to apply it.
Yeah,
and there wasn't somebody that just swooped in, halfway through the book who was omnipotent, omniscient, and all powerful and kind of like, killed half the people all at once. Yeah. Like we kind of saw that the gods are a little bit hamstrung, which is cool.
Right now. Yeah. So do we have any predictions heading into book 2?
I really like my prediction that Veridus is going to kill his brother.
Yeah.
I have Corban and Nathair are going to face off for sure. Well, Storm's going to kill some people.
Yeah. I don't know if this is going to be a book 2 thing or book 3 thing, but I'm definitely ready for a collect all the Dragon Balls plot.
Ooh.
With all these star items, like eventually they're going to have to start zooming around the map and gathering all these things.
True.
I really want to know what they do. Oh, we also got, and I cannot remember who it was, but someone claims that they know where the cauldron is in this section, which is huge. So we'll see if that pays off in the next book.
That's very true. Yeah, the Nathair is clearly on a little hunt for all these magical items to what I assume is open a portal for the devil.
Yeah. I think, we both agree on sort of what we think the cauldron is going to do.
I kind of predict like the end chapter of book 2 will be him opening the portal.
Yeah. It's hard to know what the structure of book 2 is going to be because
I think it's Dragon Balls, like you said.
Yeah, a lot of prep for war. Yeah, because it's hard to imagine the God War like in full starting in book 2 if we've got 2 more and things sort of the pacing doesn't dramatically change.
Question for you: will there be romance in book 2?
Ooh, will
Corban lose his V card?
Do you think Corban masturbates?
That's why he gets so sleepy.
John Gwynne, if you're going to write a coming of age story, deal with all of it, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, yes, I think that there will be at least one romance plot. I don't think Corban's going to have one in this next book. I think he's going to be busy. I think
Nathair will have one.
Oh, you think?
I think Nathair will rescue Cywin and hide the fact that he was on the team betrayal because she never saw him.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I just thought of that. And I also have one big prediction. Book 2 is better.
Oh my gosh. That's not even a prediction. That's going to be true. Book 2 will be better. We'll address this better, obviously, after episode 1 for Valor. But with all the work John Gwynne did in this book, book 2 is for sure going to be better.
Yeah, book 2 is always better.
Yeah.
And with that, that's season 1 of book 2 is better.
Awesome. And then I don't know what's coming exactly next, but we're going to get to Valor really soon. And I'm sure it'll be a sort of a similar breakdown to 3 or 4 episodes on it and offer our thoughts. But
in the meantime, we also have some pretty cool surprises. So please subscribe. Please stay tuned. We're going to cover some lighter books, some novellas, if you will.
We will,
bit of chaser to this episode.
Yeah. So, the big series are fun. The heavy stuff is fun, but we got to cover some schlock from the 80s as well.
It's going to be great.
It's in our mission statement. So with that, I'll see you back in the Banished Lands soon.
Avery, it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure.